हेलो नमस्कार अनि सिक्किम क्रोनिकलमा तपाईहरु सबैजनालाई स्वागत छ। आज हामी तपाईहरुलाई दक्षिण सिक्किमको राबंगला नजिक साङमो गाउँमा लिएर आएका छौं। आज सिक्किमको लागि अति नै खुशीको दिन हो अनि ऐतिहासिक दिन हो, किनभने लगभग 78 इयर्स ब्याक आजकै दिन 24 अक्टोबरको दिन यसै गाउँका एकजना साहसी वीर सिपाहीलाई ब्रिटिश सरकारको सबैभन्दा प्रेस्टिजियस वार मेडल भिक्टोरिया क्रसले सम्मान गरिएको थियो र यसै ओकेजनलाई सेलिब्रेट गर्नका निम्ति उहाँको परिवारले उहाँको सम्झनामा एउटा म्युजियमको स्थापना गरेको छ र उहाँको लाइफ साइज जुन स्ट्याचु छ यसको अनावरण पनि मुख्यमन्त्रीले गरिसक्नु भएको छ। को हुनुहुन्थ्यो भिसी गन्जु लामा? स्पेशली यङ जेनेरेसनहरूको निम्ति धेरै यो उत्सुकताको कुरो हो र आज हामी उहाँको लाइफमा डिटेलसँग बुझ्ने छौं। अनि मसँग हुनुहुन्छ यस एडिसनमा वान अफ द फ्यामिली मेम्बर्स, भेरी भेरी प्रमिसिङ फिल्म मेकर, अनि तपाईलाई स्वागत गर्न चाहन्छु मिस्टर उगेन छोपेल। फर्स्ट एन्ड फरमोस्ट लेट मी आस्क यू है, आजको क्षण एउटा ऐतिहासिक क्षण हो, यसलाई कसरी लिनुहुन्छ? किनभने अब एउटा मेमोरी फेरि यहाँनिर स्ट्रक्चर्ड भएको छ।
हाम्रो लागि यो ठुलो गर्वको कुरा हो र मी एज फ्यामिली मेम्बर तपाईहरुले सबैलाई यो अनर दिएकोमा एकदम आई फिल भेरी ग्रेटफुल टु बी रिप्रेजेन्टिङ द फ्यामिली एन्ड फ्यामिली मेम्बर्स, बिकज हामीलाई भिसी साहब एउटा लेजेन्ड मात्र होइन, एउटा आइकन हो र सायद नयाँ जेनेरेसनले विथ टाइम दे must be forgetting who he was, but for us he's a legend, he's an icon, I mean, and he's a historical persona. So जे गरे भए पनि इतिहासलाई त मेटाउन सक्दैन र आज यो म्युजियम जुन चाहिँ ओपनिङ थियो यसको डिस्कसन चाहिँ एज अ फ्यामिली मलाई याद छ कि धेरै साल अगाडिदेखि नै यो चलिरहेको थियो। हाम्रो डीडी भुटिया साहब, हाम्रो यहाँ भूतपूर्व मन्त्री, उहाँले पनि इनिशिएट गर्नु भएको थियो एक टाइममा, तर यो त्यो टाइममा रियालिटी नभएकोले गर्दाखेरि आज यो इट्स अ भेरी इम्पोर्टेन्ट एन्ड अ भेरी हिस्टोरिक डे फर अल अफ अस एन्ड आई एम प्राउड टु बी स्पिकिङ अन बिहाफ अफ द फ्यामिली।
सो तपाईँ चाहिँ कसरी रिलेटेड हुनुहुन्छ उहाँसँग?
ही इज माई पेटर्नल अंकल एन्ड मोर देन द्याट आई थिंक ही वाज my father, late father, was very close to him. So my memories as a child, knowing him, he was always an icon. But we always knew him as a very strict disciplinarian. र एकदमै strict, एकदमै आर्मी म्यान हुनुहुन्थ्यो र उहाँको जेठा छोरा जो अनफर्चुनेटली लास्ट इयर बित्नु भयो, शरब डाडुल, म टिएनएस स्कुलमा पढ्दाखेरि ही जोइन्ड अस इन आई थिंक क्लास द लो केजी अप्पर केजीमा. So that those were the days regularly वहाँ टिएनए आउने गर्थ्यो र मेरो भाइलाई अब मैले पनि अलिकति I had to protect him and I had to take care of him. त्यसले गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ I have very fond memories. In fact, I could start by saying that the first imported shirt from Harrod was his gift to me because every year वहाँ इंग्ल्यान्ड जानुहुन्थ्यो र वहाँको स्टेचर र वहाँको पोजिसन जुन चाहिँ भन्नु पर्दाखेरि इंग्ल्यान्डमा पनि महारानी एलिजाबेथले अरू जुनै डिग्नेटरी भेट्यो भए पनि दे अलवेज वेयर व्हाइट ग्लव्स, तर उहाँले जब भिक्टोरिया क्रसलाई भेट्नु हुँदाखेरि चाहिँ आई रिमेम्बर that they used to say she used to take off her gloves and shake hands with the queen. And even as late as now, when she passed away, I think all the few Victoria Crosses and the war heroes were given privilege to at the ceremony, even before the king himself. So that is हाम्रो त्यति ठुलो स्टेचर र त्यति भिक्टोरिया क्रसको मान्यता र भिक्टोरिया क्रसको भ्याल्यु त्यति छ। सायद आज यसले गर्दाखेरि हाम्रो नयाँ जेनेरेसनले सायद बिर्सिँदैन भन्ने एउटा मलाई आशा लाग्छ. So this is a very big thing for all of us today.
Absolutely. So you lovingly call him VC Aku.
Aku BC. Aku BC vanera. So I have nice photographs of him with my father and all that. And for us, because he was such a big character, such larger than life, and always for us, he's a huge celebrity. So that way, I think we are proud to be a part of the family, of the Shangdarpa family.
So today we interacted with the Chief Minister who inaugurated this museum and also unveiled the statue. उहाँले भन्नुभयो कि अब फेरि भिसी गन्जु लामाको जुन स्टोरी छ यो चाहिँ स्पेशली स्कुलको करिकुलममा पढाइने छ भनेर. So how does this announcement been taken by the family members?
We are very grateful for the CM. It's very gracious of him to have said something like that, though I'm just hearing it from you right now. And in fact, you see, heroism is not only about fighting wars. Heroism and, valor and, these things should be a part of our life. He fought the great Second World War. In fact, भन्ने गर्छ, I had the opportunity of doing a documentary on him called VC Sahab. So I did a little bit of research, and I also came to know so many things that many people are not aware of. They say that, in the annals of British Army, they say that VC Ganju Lama's Victoria Cross was the most deserved Victoria Cross in the entire Southeast Asian theater of war भन्ने गर्छ गर्दाखेरि कतिवटा शायद 13-14 वटा यता हाम्रो यो गोर्खालीहरूले अवार्ड जितेको मध्यमा र जति पनि भिक्टोरिया क्रस अवार्ड विन गरेकोमा दिस वाज वन अफ द मोस्ट भ्याल्युड गोर्खा द भिक्टोरिया क्रस बिकज टुगेदर विथ द मिलिट्री मेडल भन्ने पाउने बित्तिकै उहाँले यो हाम्रो भिक्टोरिया क्रस पाउनु भएको त्यसले गर्दा जति ख्याति प्राप्त उहाँले गर्नुभयो यो आई मीन दिस इज अनइमेजिनेबल ओन्ली थिङ इज विथ टाइम पब्लिक मेमोरी इज भेरी शॉर्ट वी टेन्ड टु फर्गेट लेजेन्ड्स But with this and with what you just said about the CM Saab of introducing this in the school curriculum, it's a fantastic thing because people must know. It's not only about fighting a war, it's about fighting today, there's so much, the world is under so much of crisis. Within that, it's also about fighting for your own rights, fighting for your pride, fighting for your identity. So this, I think that valor and the pride and, this fight has to keep on going. And I'm sure this by introducing this in schools, I'm sure this will really help the curriculum as well.
Absolutely. र हामी यहाँनिर म्युजियममा प्रवेश गरिसकेका छौं अनि मिस्टर उगेन छोपेल हामीसँग हुनुहुन्छ र लेट्स हैव अ स्निक पीक अबाउट हिज अर्ली लाइफ है द शाङदर पास.
All right, Shangpotar, we belong to the same family. यहाँ सिक्किममा we believe in the Bitsenge Tonduriji, the Lhatsin tradition. So 1642 when the first Maharaja and the first kingdom was established, we were very much part of this. Sikkim tradition, we are direct descendants of Khebumsa, who made the blood brotherhood with the Lepcha chieftain. उहाँको चाहिँ अब 3 जना छोरा थियो, मेपनरब, लामोरब, खेबुरब र मेपनरब. So from these descended the 12 families, Bitsenge and the Tondur Rishi. The Shangdarpa family comes into the first for the Tondur Rishi. त्यो Tondur Rishi को family बाट चाहिँ अब गुरुटासी भन्ने चाहिँ family चाहिँ they became the kings, the Maharaja. So when they became the Maharaja, there's an old Sikkimese saying which says Khila Ajami Gyapla Nyummi. There's actually त्यसको translation is the king the कुकुरलाई चाहिँ मामा हुँदैन अरे र आजदेखि चाहिँ राजाको चाहिँ रिलेटिभ हुँदैन भनेर. So we became commoners and one of our brothers became the Maharaja of Sikkim. So that is the family. And then Shangdarpa family basically started from Sangmo here, and then our family moved to Lingmo. That's why our Gazing people who settled, the Shangdarpas who settled in Gazing were known as the Lingmo Shadabs. Right. So there are Sangmo, Lingmo Shadab, and there are other Shangdarpas spread all over Sikkim.
Right. Hazur. So उहाँको जन्म चाहिँ यहाँनिर साङ्गोमा
हजुर. He was born as Gyamso Bhutia. But then उहाँको चाहिँ at a very early age, I think he was very young, 17-18 years old, when he joined the army. So त्यति बेला छाउनी भन्थ्यो. The camp was in Darjeeling, in Ghum. So when he went there, you see, के हुने गर्थ्यो भने they were not engaging the Sikkimese people they were not enrolling them in the army. So he changed, he became Lama, means Tamang bhayera चाहिँ that's why his name became Lama. Because Sikkimese चाहिँ अब हामीहरू पूजा पाठ गर्ने, बुद्धिस्ट नमार्ने भनेर चाहिँ अहिंसा गर्ने भनेर चाहिँ, so they thought we'll make very bad soldiers. That's why he had to change his name to Lama. But then Ganju Lama is a very funny anecdote because his actual name is Gyamso. अब उहाँले जाँदाखेरि चाहिँ what's your name भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ सायद Britishers उहाँलाई Gyamso भन्दा he couldn't get it right. So Gyamso he couldn't get it right, so there was a clerical error. So from Gyamso he became Ganju. There is no name, any name called Ganju ni. That's why he came to known as Ganju Lama.
So 17 years मा चाहिँ उहाँले आर्मी जोइन गर्नु भएको होइन अनि आई वाज वाचिङ द डकुमेन्ट्री द्याट ही वाज भेरी मच इन्ट्रेस्टेड सिन्स हिज चाइल्डहुड है बिकज उहाँको कोही कजन आई थिङ्क अङ्कल वाज इन आर्मी अनि युनिफर्मसँग उहाँको एकदम लगाउ थियो भनेर है देन ही जोइन्ड गोर्खा रेजिमेन्ट
Yes, yes. That part is like, I think the timing was such that, very soon after that, he was moved to the Southeast Asian, involved in the Second World War. So there he fought the war and then because of his gallantry and his valor and his, bravery, he was given the military medal first and then later the Victoria Cross. अब यो अहिले हामीले अझै एउटा कुरा के नोट गर्नुपर्छ भने out of the 13 Gurkha Victoria Crosses that were awarded during the Second World War, अब यो जतिजना अरूहरू छ, they are all from Nepal. He is the only Indian and the only Sikkimese, अब त्यति बेला Sikkimese भनौँ न, to have won this Victoria Cross. That itself, there are so many things that actually make us so proud of him. हजुर हजुर.
सो यो चाहिँ वर्ल्ड वारको टाइमको है 1941 to 45 को बिच.
Yes, yes, yes.
सो आई थिङ्क ही फट टु वर्ल्ड वार्स मतलब दुई खेप लड्नु भयो होइन.
That was during the Second World War only. That also in Burma and that northeast area मा चाहिँ war fight गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ that's why he was the only soldier to have won the military medal and the Victoria Cross in a very short time. हजुर. अब Victoria Cross को चाहिँ value चाहिँ अब तपाईहरुले बुझ्नु पर्दाखेरि चाहिँ like I told you that time, the Queen also removes her gloves to shake hands and then every year, they are invited to England for to meet the Queen. So that's how we know. हजुर.
Alright, so हामीले हेरिरहेका छौं यहाँनिर इभन द फोटो डिस्प्लेहरू यहाँनिर राखेको छ अनि all the details about the final operation जुन उहाँले आफ्नो भ्यालुर अनि आफ्नो ब्रेभरी डिस्प्ले गर्नुभएको थियो यो सबै यहाँनिर राखेको छ and also it speaks about the bravery of the Gurkha regiment at that point of time.
Absolutely. Now this does not only remain as a place of tourist interest, but I think all younger generation, schools, colleges, they must come and visit this place to actually get, recognize the value of VC Saab and, realize that, what a big legend he was and then we are so fortunate to have, lived during his time.
Sikkim Kingdom, त्यति बेलाको जुन हाईएस्ट एउटा अवार्ड थियो पेमा दोर्जी was conferred on him by the Chogyal.
Yes, yes. That was the civilian order. In fact, the Chogyal that time was very gracious enough to, gift him a huge parcel of land also in, around here. So the kind of respect even the Maharaja gave at that time is immense. And in fact, the consecutive government, even the Bhatpura, our previous government also, it did quite a lot for VC Saab. Bhandari's time, he was also made a chairman and advisor to Bhandari Saab. And Chamling Saab ko time, I think they renamed this entire road stretch from the road from here, from Rabang to the 0 point in Temi is VC Ganju Lama Marg. So all these things we should not forget. That we must give that credit wherever it is due.
So almost 25 years he was in the service in the Indian Army, right? So then after that he did not choose to go to Britain, right?
Yeah, a lot of like I told you, a lot of people who actually, a lot of Victoria Crosses, chose to stay away in England or retired. Some of them retired in England. But he came home and he did a lot of social service here. In fact, he built schools here. He sponsored students. And he was a very much a part and parcel of the socio-economic life of our Sikkimese people. And his contribution has been immense. In fact, if you probably, there's a school right down there which he had built.
मैले के जान्नमा आयो भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ he was more passionate about education. He came back अनि उहाँले आफ्नो स्कुल यहाँ सुरु गर्नुभयो which later was taken up by the Sikkim government हैन. So उहाँको एउटा कन्सेप्ट चाहिँ के थियो आइडिया भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ everyone should be educated, should get knowledge.
Yeah, actually, I think that arises from the fact that, during his time when they were growing up, there were no schools. So when he went to, the army, and later on when he was part of, going to England and all, he must have realized, that that, education was so important. I mean, he couldn't, that communication problem, he couldn't speak English properly. So he realized the importance of education very early in life. So I think when I spoke to him, when I interviewed him for my film also, he was very, very passionate about Sikkim, and then that's how he started the school. यो भन्दै गर्दाखेरि पनि now the rest of the honors that he was given is, after he retired, he became the ADC to the President of India, to VV Giri. So I remember, I used to hear about his, times at the Rashtrapati Bhavan, and I think it's very important for us to know also that he was given the lifetime ADC to the given the recognition as the lifetime ADC to the President of India. So that was also one of his, I think, laurels, I think. Yeah.
Can you briefly take us through his family, like, tree?
His wife is actually, again, distantly related to us also, and then she comes from the Maling family, and they had 3 sons. Sharab Dadul, the eldest son, who, as I mentioned, passed away last year, and then Pemaleda and Northern Ade, and then, of course, the 2 daughters, Dimple and Bebila. So they all here, and I think he was very much involved in the children's education and all that. So the very fact that he was trying to get his son educated in TNA and all that, was these things were very close to him. I think his family was very close to him. In fact, while moving from Gazing to Gangtok, very often I used to stop by here for tea, meet him, and before he passed away, I just met him about a month and a half before he passed away. Danny Saab was there, so I told him, he's not keeping well, so we paid him a visit, Danny Saab, me and my other uncles, and I think very soon, about a month and a half later, he passed away. Yes. Yeah.
So, what was the reason? Like, I mean, when did he pass away?
I think it was in the year 2000, and he was suffering from cancer, but it wasn't a very long drawn process also, and he was taken to Delhi, and he was recovering. Shayad Azu jasto bha, shayad probably he would have still be alive, but I think and I think that entire stress of the war and all that, also all these things must have contributed to his illness. And he was like a perfectionist. I've seen how he used to run his house, like a totally regimented house. And like I said, he was a total disciplinarian. We used to get very scared of him, And I think his children had to bear a major brunt of that discipline thing, I think.
So his personality was always like, larger than life.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, he was like, with this bass voice. I imitate him very often, so let me not do it now.
So, on behalf of the family members, के भन्न चाहनुहुन्छ, especially to the people of Sikkim?
I'm absolutely elated today because this has been the dream of his wife and the family to do this for a very long time. In fact, I feel very sad that I couldn't be a part of all this from the beginning, but this discussion was going on, like I said, with Didi sir for the last 15-20 years. They wanted to put a museum together, then I got busy, but now since they've done this on their own, now this is for posterity, and I hope it lives for posterity, and I hope it lives there for Sikkim, and I hope it lives there and inspires the younger generation, and also realize that, they lived somebody like VC Ganju Lama amongst us.
Thank you so much for speaking with us, and best wishes, Mr. Ugen Choppel.
Yeah, thank you. And Nirmal, it's always a pleasure to talk to you. I love talking to you. Thank you so much, and thank you to all the listeners of to viewers of your show. Thank you so much.
So, यदि तपाईं राबङ आउनुहुँदैछ भने अवश्य पनि तपाईं VC गन्जु लामा जुन मेमोरियल म्युजियम छ यो भिजिट गर्न नबिर्सनु होला, किनभने यहाँ आएर तपाईले अनुभव गर्नुहुनेछ द कन्ट्रिब्युसन एन्ड द ब्रेभरी एन्ड द भ्यालर विच VC गन्जु लामा हैज डिस्प्लेड ड्युरिङ सेकेन्ड वर्ल्ड वार. तपाईले मेरो पछाडि हेर्नु भएको छ, यहाँनिर उहाँसँग सम्बन्धित जति पनि आर्टिफेक्ट्स भयो, जति पनि आर्टिकल्स भयो, जति पनि उहाँसँग सम्बन्धित इन्फर्मेसन यो हामीले यहाँ हेर्न सक्छौ. With camera person Ashish Gurung, this is Nirmal for Sikkim Chronicle.
Get all the credible news on the go. Download the Sikkim Chronicle app.